going to be slightly different. I'm not talking about travel or skincare. Today, I'm going to be talking about tips to get you or help you in the best way possible to get a graduate job in investment banking. And some of these tips are also applicable in other industries. The reason why I've made this is because I mentor a large group of students between the ages of 16 to 21. And previously, some of the information that I thought was rather obvious or easily accessible actually isn't. And I think if you're from a lower socioeconomic background, these are some of the tips which a lot of people often miss out, and that can really be detrimental in terms of you getting the job offer or not. This is not me saying that everything here is perfect, but this is just to give you, the best chance available. For context, I work in an investment bank. I've been there for 2 years. I joined as a grad and I did a summer internship. I've done 2 summer internships in 2 different investment banks, as well as 2 other internships and a placement in a consultancy firm and in I guess something that would fall into the energy sector as well. So a bit of a veteran in kind of applications as such. But again, this is just to give you guys the best tips possible. So first things first, really how I want to address this is like from your very first year in university. So when you first join university, I'm aware that a lot of people think about friends and their modules, rightly so. However, there are 2 things which you should really be thinking about and utilizing in your second year. The first is your career services. Every single university will have a career service, and really they're supposed to help you in not only kind of looking at what industries you may be interested in, but helping you with your application and your CV. Now, what's really good about the career services is that they often have links to their alumni, which can work in firms which you may actually be interested in. And also, they do sometimes come back to the university. I've gone back to my university at least more than 7 times to talk to new students about, their careers and their trajectory through university. This is an amazing opportunity which no one should miss out on, because it gives you an opportunity to expand your network. So that's one. Second is societies. Now, people often think that societies are just for fun, but most universities have a lot of industry-aligned societies, such as the Finance Society, Management Society, Consultancy Society, Law Society. And the benefits of these are threefold. One is that they give you an opportunity to actually learn more at a high level about the industry that you're interested in. 2, there's access to alumni. And 3, in most cases, those societies will have events with either former alumni or their firms, which kind of gives you, first glance or a better insight than individuals that are on the outside. And in, this kind of growing population where competition is, increasing, you really want to make sure that you have your best foot forward. Again, in your first year as well, you should be really, and this is why I say it's first things first, is to kind of do those 2 things, the career services and the societies, is you want to try and apply for a spring week. Now, the reason why I say this is because spring weeks give you an extremely high level overview of the firm as well as the industry that you're interested in. Now, a lot of people don't do this, and what happens is that they get to, maybe they've applied, for a summer internship like much later once they've graduated, or they have graduated and they apply for a graduate job. And what they realize is that the industry that they wanted, they don't actually want. So it's just been a waste of time. So this gives you an opportunity in your first year to see if you like the firm and if you like the industry. They're not, mutually exclusive. Some people like the industry, but they don't like the firm. But at least you have that insight. And of course, you also get paid. So that's that. Also, in your first year, you should really be using this opportunity to attend open days. Open days, again, give you the opportunity to speak to individuals that work at the firm, and again, give you that high level overview as well as building your network. So that's that. Also, in your second year now, really you should be kind of gearing up to apply for summer internships. Now, what's really important is that if you've done a spring internship and you performed quite well as liking it, you usually get an offer for a summer internship. Now, that means that while loads of your peers are kind of struggling and, just flapping around trying to do applications, you are secure, which means that you can 100% focus on your studies, knowing that you have got something lined up for the upcoming summer, which is a really good opportunity. Also, in your second year, again with those societies, you really want to try and see where possible, if you can, to become more than just a member. You want to be active. And this is really good for people who don't necessarily have part-time jobs or don't have any experience elsewhere. This gives you an opportunity when you later write your CV to actually talk about some of your roles and responsibilities as well as your impact. Now, back onto the summer internships. Why summer internships are really good is because it's 8 to 10 weeks and they give you a kind of in-depth idea of the firm and industry that you are going to be at. You also obviously get paid. And what's really important is that they show you the roles and responsibilities that you will be taking if you decide to come back as a graduate, which I think is extremely important. A lot of people just think something works for them and it actually doesn't. So that is, again, an amazing opportunity. And as I said, and I alluded to, the spring week, kind of spring week interns, most people who do a summer internship actually get a graduate offer. Now, you need to think about this. If there are 400, summer interns and a majority of them perform well, that obviously means that the scope for graduates goes down. So you really don't want to be, applying for graduate jobs not having done a summer internship at all, because the spaces will be low, and if you have no experience in comparison to others that do have experience, you are at a very clear disadvantage. So just kind of bear that in mind. In your third year of everything that's gone well, you really just want to kind of spend it networking. If you've done your summer internship and you've received an offer, if you don't particularly like the firm, you may want to use this opportunity to apply elsewhere. Again, you already have something secure, but you also have the work experience to actually move elsewhere. If you're in your third year and you've neither had a spring week or a summer internship, applying for a graduate scheme will be extremely difficult because first of all, there'll be limited spaces because they've already accepted a majority of their summer interns, and you'll be going up against people who have done summer internships elsewhere and have work experience. What I do usually recommend is applying for a summer internship. Now, most places, and people are not aware of this, is that you can actually apply for summer internships as long as you graduate within 1 to 2 years. It's worth checking out the terms and conditions on that, but that is actually available for a majority of firms. A lot of people do apply for graduate schemes, but without work experience in that relevant industry, it is really hard, right? Especially if you have no one to kind of vouch for you as well. So that's kind of like the university segment. Outside of that is your CV. Now, your CV is what someone, kind of really looks at. Now, a lot of things that people do, and I think, is put a lot of information and they make it really descriptive. Really, aside from your spring week, and I just want to make this clear, your GCSEs should not be on your CV while applying for kind of graduate jobs. It's highly irrelevant and it's just taking up space. Really, the only place where it may be somewhat applicable, and that's even a stretch, is in your spring week. Really, when you're applying for your, summer internships and graduate jobs, you really want it to go, your degree with relevant modules with your predicted grade. You want to talk about your work experience. And the work experience part is extremely important because you want to also make this quantifiable, measurable, and impactful. So a lot of people say, I worked in retail over summer. Perfect. 10,000 other children, kids, young people done over summer. What was your impact? What was it measurable? And this is where we find that language becomes important because you need to start saying stuff like, I worked in this and I performed X, which had X outcome. And that's what you always need to do. You need to show your impact as an individual. What makes you special? What makes you, deserve the interview over someone else? And a lot of people fail to do this. They just make it extremely descriptive and say, hey, I done this. In the grand scheme of things, against 40,000 other, candidates, that's not what you should be doing. You don't want to look at your other skills. Now, this is a really important part because this gives you the opportunity to add skills which, aren't clear that you have as part of your degree. So for example, if you're applying for something that's engineering focused or technology focused, and that doesn't match your degree, this would actually be a very good time to say, hey, I'm good at Python. I can write in R. I'm good with big data. And I'm not saying actually say I am good with big data, but you can actually just list them with commas. Microsoft Office is obviously an important skill set. It's not clear if you had that or not. That's something down to put down. And your last section is kind of your extracurricular activities and different things that you want to do. And this is really an opportunity for you to show your personality as well. So you really want to do that. Again, your CV as a graduate should not be any longer than 1 page. Again, and you want to make it, like I said, punchy. You want to have all those keywords. You want to be using words like collaborative. You want to be using, analysis. You want to be using those kind of keywords. And it's also good when applying for a firm, looking at the language that they've used in their job description and on their page overall, right? You want to try and embed that language into your CV. And this is why we say sometimes one CV does not fit all and you need to tailor your CV to the specific firm that you're applying for. So that is that. And like I said, you should really be leveraging your career services. They will have a kind of template which has been refined over the years, which you can easily just kind of download from any of your kind of university server. Thirdly, and this is really kind of comes before the uni part, and I said about it, about leveraging your network, is actually understanding what you're applying for. A lot of people say, I want to go into investment banking. I say, what is investment banking? No, that should never happen. You should really have a high level understanding of the different divisions as well as, I guess, the theory behind them. So if you say to someone, someone says to you, why do you want to be in the investment banking division? You should be able to talk about companies, you should be able to talk about mergers and acquisitions, funding at an extremely high level. No one is expecting you to understand the nuances of it all, but you should be able to kind of hold a conversation. Similarly, if someone's talking about sales, do you understand the different products? Do you understand volatility, options, the different contracts, and the technical aspect of things? Again, you don't need to go into the nuances, but again, at least have some high level understanding. Operations, are you able to talk about, front to back flows? What does that mean? Trade breaks, all of those kind of things at an extremely high level. Which is actually, quite good. And these are the kind of things that kind of differentiate you between your, I don't want to say opponent, but your competitor while applying. And there are loads of ways that you could use this. You could do e-financial careers. You could use Google. And also you can use LinkedIn. And I think a lot of people utilize LinkedIn incorrectly. A lot of people, I've received messages where it's like 7 paragraphs. I'm not going to read that. But what you can do is say, hi, my name's Latif. I'm a second year student studying X. I'm really interested in X. I was hoping if I could have a moment of your time to discuss more. That is, you've introduced yourself, you said what you're doing, you said what you want, thanks. Very quick, it's very clear cut. I understand from there exactly what you want, and then the ball is in my court whether I want to help you or not. So you are helping me help you, essentially. No one is going to read through 7 paragraphs of extensive writing, right? And that goes for any industry. So you want to make it short, sweet, and concise. So there's also that. Now, there are, for some people, and again, as I mentioned at the very beginning, if you come from a lower socioeconomic background, the fact is the odds are often stacked against you. People will try and downplay it, but it actually is, because a lot of people that come from, I guess, middle class backgrounds or upwards technically have access to that information, as well as individuals within their family or close family friends who can also help them. So what you really want to do is try and get as much help as you can possible. And there are organizations which actually provide that help, which you can leverage. So SEO, Rare, they help Black and ethnic minority students, enter in the workplace as well. You have WCAN, which is specifically for Black women. You have employability, which is for disabled students. And that's just a few. But the thing that's really important is that even if you don't fit into those categories, they still have a bank of resources in which you can utilize. So make sure to check them out. And the fact is, a majority of websites that facilitate graduate recruitment also have that. So you want to be looking at like, is it Debut, your eFinancial Careers, and there are quite a few of them that kind of offer additional resources to help you help yourself essentially. So again, you want to do that. Also, YouTube, I've come across quite a few videos which are very specific, especially for those who need that technical knowledge to take the next step with their interview. I think that is pretty much everything for me. Again, I really wanted to make this extremely high level really quickly. And again, look, as I said, I've said my motives behind doing this video. I really do wish you the best. I think a lot of these things that I've mentioned are things that people generally should be doing, but I'm aware that information isn't always as available. I hope you do take from this and take some of the advice. Competition is extremely high, but generally speaking, I wish you all the best. And yeah, I'm not even gonna tell you to subscribe, but yeah, enjoy the rest of your days. Good luck with your exams and all of that kind of jazz and your applications.